Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum, and to be completely honest, what we're going to be talking about today will probably age like milk, but we're going to talk about it anyways. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. So the first thing we want to say is Ethereum has started to make a move. Now, is it going to continue? This is obviously the question. Again, I would encourage everyone to just cancel those Forbes interviews. We can't take this to the bank quite yet. We had a 10% move the other day, less than a week ago, and then the very next day we just came straight back down. Okay, so let's not get too carried away just yet. It's always better to just stay grounded, to just sort of let the market play out. You don't get too emotionally attached to what's going on in the short term. With that said, let's look at the implication of a major move by Bitcoin, followed by a cool down phase, and then what happened next. Okay, this is where it can get somewhat exciting for Ethereum. So to do this, we have to go back in time. So let's take a journey back to 2017. Bitcoin peaked on December 17th. Ethereum peaked in 2017 before its final peak in early 2018, but it had sort of this peak right here, okay? And it peaked on the 19th, a local peak, if you will. And then Ethereum from this peak retraced 40 to 43% from candle top to candle bottom. Let's not look at the wicks. It was about a 22% correction. So a 22% correction. And then we know that then today, after this major move, right, we had also a very similar correction by Ethereum, about 27%, 28%. Now, the reason why this is interesting, one of the things we've discussed with Bitcoin is that 50-day moving or the 20-day moving average, and ideally wanting to be above it. But what if, I've said before, I don't think that Bitcoin necessarily has to be above the 20-day moving average for Ethereum to make a major move. And we've seen it before. The reason I say that is not because I think it, it's because we've seen it happen before where Bitcoin was below the 20-day and it did not stop Ethereum from moving against Bitcoin. Right now, Ethereum's moving against Bitcoin despite the fact that Bitcoin is below the 20-day moving average. So we already have proof right there. We have proof that it can move against Bitcoin even if Bitcoin's below the 20-day. But what's interesting is when did Ethereum start to make a more significant move? Okay, a more significant move. So it cooled off. So we know I had this 20-something% correction, but after Bitcoin's peak on December 17th, how long did it take for Ethereum to really get going? Maybe we could say it started on December 31st, or you might say it started on January 2nd. On January 2nd is when we had a breakout of 14%. December 31st, we also had a small breakout, about 8% or so. So what we want to do is we want to just take a measured move from when Bitcoin peaked, when Bitcoin peaked to when Ethereum started moving. So we know that Bitcoin peaked on the 17th of December. Okay, so let's take a measured move from the 17th of December, which is here. Okay, 17th of December over. Now, if we go out to the 31st of January, we can see it took 14 days before we started a major rally where the valuation of Ethereum essentially went up 2x in the span of 2 weeks. Now, if we were a little bit more conservative here, we might say, okay, it actually took 16 days before we saw a major breakout where we really had a daily candle that put in a new high that was higher than the local top that we had a couple weeks before. So let's say approximately 14 to 16 days. Now, where did Bitcoin peak so far? We're not saying it's a market cycle peak, but even if it's a local peak, it could help Ethereum start to move because if Bitcoin volatility is calming down here, right? If it starts to calm down, this is great for Ethereum. As you can see, it's great for Ethereum. Ethereum's starting to move a little bit. So how long has it been since Bitcoin's local top? Well, from the local top, it was on the 21st of February. And so far, it's been 13 days. So it's been 13 days since Bitcoin's local top. We saw that last cycle, at the market cycle top, it took 14 to 16 days to see a major breakout of the valuation of Ethereum. So what I would say is the main thing I would assume that would preclude Ethereum from going on a fairly substantial rally against Bitcoin would be one of two things. The first thing would be if Bitcoin capitulates. As you guys know, if Bitcoin capitulates, then it's not going to give Ethereum the time to make a major move. So this is the risk you're playing with. Okay, we always have risk involved. This is the risk you're playing with. This is the major downside risk, is the idea that Bitcoin capitulates. Another risk, which isn't necessarily that bad of a risk, is if Bitcoin actually goes back into price discovery mode in the short term. If that happens, then it's not necessarily bad for Ethereum against its USD valuation, but it probably wouldn't be good for its Bitcoin valuation. And for a lot of people, that's okay because they have a Bitcoin position, they have an Ethereum position, they just want to see them both do well. But if you're all in on Ethereum, then obviously you would like it to see you would like to see it outperform Bitcoin. Otherwise, you have to wonder why do you hold Ethereum in the first place if you're all in on Ethereum, which I would not recommend going all in on Ethereum. It's not financial advice. I think slight diversification is good. I think over diversification in crypto is bad, but slight diversification where you put a majority of your funds into say 4 or 5 coins, I think that's where it's at. I think that's where the real money is made. Spreading it too thinly across 100 different coins, you're going to really have no idea what's going on in the market. You're not going to really have an idea of some of the patterns that play out because it's just too much to take in. But looking at say 4 to 5 coins, I think this is the sweet spot. So from here, 14 to 16 days, currently to get to 14 to 16 days from Bitcoin's local top, we would be looking at approximately March 7th to March 9th. March 7th to March 9th, if things were to play out in any type of similar fashion. Okay, so again, this is one of those things that I'll be the first to say I do not know what is going to happen in the short term. I have no idea. I've said before, it's geometric Brownian motion. It can be related to that. A random walk, not something that we can reliably predict in any accurate way consistently. Of course, sometimes we'll get it right. Sometimes we'll get short-term predictions wrong. But what I would say is that I've said before, Ethereum is, sitting on Ethereum and assuming that it's dead is probably not going to work out in your favor in the long term. Yes, the narratives can play out for other solutions, other coins. They can play out for a while, but at the end of the day, Ethereum's not going anywhere. Okay, Ethereum's just simply not going anywhere. And it's in my opinion, that is of course non-financial advice, that as we've been saying all along, we're waiting for a much bigger move by Ethereum. This is not it. Okay, and I can't stress that enough. A 7% move is not the Ethereum tsunami that we're talking about. It doesn't mean it's not the start of one, right? It could be the start of one, but we're still relatively far away from the local top at 2,000, at just over $2,000 from the current valuation. Ethereum would need to go up another 24%. Now, if we were to continue to emulate what Ethereum did back over here, let's take a look at what happened, okay, so we can fully understand how this move played out. So on the 31st, it moved up 7%, and then here it moved up 2%, and then 14%, and 9%, and then we had one day where we sort of just cooled off, and then another 2%, 4%, 11%, 1%, 13%, 2 cooldown periods, and then another 10%, and another 10%. So if we get several of these in a row, right, where we're going up 5, 10% a day, it wouldn't take us that long to get to the prior all-time high. So imagine this candle ends at around, let's say it ends at 10%. That might be a little bit too optimistic considering the daily close is coming up in a very short period of time. Let's say it just ends here at 7%. If everything aligns, if the stars are aligned for Ethereum and things continue to move up, and let's say we get a 10% pump tomorrow, that would potentially get us to $1,800. And then if we get another 10%, then of course we're back at the all-time high. Okay, so you can see if the stars stay aligned, how quickly we could recoup those losses, and this could just be seen as a sort of an some might call it an overvaluation reaccumulation phase of lifetime. Some may call it that. And the reason why we say that is because if you look over here, we had something similar, right? Where Bitcoin had a major move, Ethereum had a dip, and then we sort of picked ourselves up by our bootstraps and then went to much higher valuations. So one of to address a couple questions, the first thing I'll probably get questions about is, well, are you saying that this is the market cycle top? I'm not saying that. I think we have a long way to go this cycle. I do think we're going to have a cool down period. I don't know if it's gonna come now or if it's going to come, say, in a month or two, and maybe the cooldown period will happen when Bitcoin goes to 70K. We could already be in the cooldown period. What I would say is that you need to remain somewhat flexible, and we need to look at all possibilities rather than getting too fixed in on what only one possibility could be. So this is why we're looking at this somewhat dubious short-term price movement speculation type thing. I'll be the first to say there's a decent chance this ages like milk, because you guys know me, I do not claim to have any idea what's going to happen in the short term. But it is exciting seeing Ethereum move up, and what we're hoping for is that Bitcoin can at least hold. Just hopefully it holds and just stays where it is. And I think this will be good for Ethereum. Remember, if you guys like the content, we have the premium list altcoin season sale. We're going to end that in 8 days. So my plan is to end it in 8 days. So if you want to lock in the lower rate, make sure you sign up. Check out the link in the description below. You get access to the weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the trading view indicators, and more. We have a lot of other things coming out there. So if you're looking for a way to navigate the market cycle, you can check that out. We also have a lifetime deal in the description below. So if you want to sign up for the lifetime option, you can do that as well. Subscribe to the channel at the very least. We'll continue to follow this Ethereum move. You guys know I'm a big Ethereum bull. We've been waiting for a move. I don't think you should schedule the Forbes interview just yet, because this could be a fake out if Bitcoin decides to kick the bucket tomorrow. But let's be cautiously optimistic is what I would say. Being cautiously optimistic is probably the way to go. So subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, turn on your alerts. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check out the premium list. I'll see you next time. Bye.